What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is John. Today I have for you a big box good. That's right, today we're going to be taking a look at the Eva-Dry or the Eva-Dry EDV 1200 dehumidifier I picked up at Costco for $29.99. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing and a first impressions. We're going to see what comes in the box, take a look at the user manual, take a look at the quality of this item, take a look at how to set it up, and last but not least, test this item out to see how well it works. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this unboxing and first impressions. So here in front of us is the Eva-Dry EDV 1200. Now, EDV stands for, I am assuming, the brand Eva-Dry, and 1200 stands for 1200 cubic feet, which is the maximum amount of space this can cover or protect. What I like on the box is they do use the word protect. I was thinking about using this word myself. I am one who actually has a problem with mold and mildew. I already own a dehumidifier, not a compact one though. Therefore, keeping this around my desk, maybe in the living room, while the main dehumidifier is in the bedroom to protect my clothing, I can have this dehumidifier, like I said, in my living room around my precious electronics. I have an expensive editing machine or computer that I use to make these videos, as well as photography, but also a TV and some nice furniture as well. This will go great in the living room. As you can see, looking at the side of the box, they do go over other key applications, a small bedroom, which I do have, but maybe if you have a multi-family home, you can put this in a kitchen, you can put this in a closet, which I do recommend to protect your clothing if you do have an issue with mold or mildew. And last but most importantly, not least, recreational vehicles like RVs and boats, which do spend a lot of time on the water and do have exposure or increased exposure to humidity. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see what comes in the box. Like I said, we'll take a look at the quality of this item. It was only 30 bucks, and we'll talk about some of the features and make sure that it works. Let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, so now that I've gone over specifically why having something like this is so advantageous and so important, especially if you have a problem with mold or mildew, keeping this in the closet or maybe at a computer desk to protect your valuable electronics, or maybe if you've got a little bit of an older boat and you are exposed to humidity, or maybe just being out on the water in general, you've got expensive camera equipment or laptops or cell phones that are not corrosion resistant to the saltwater air, having something like this in your RV or boat will definitely come in handy. Now that we have everything out of the box and organized, let's talk about what you get. So at the far right-hand side of the table, we do have the user guide, which has very detailed specifications. It shows you exactly how to use this dehumidifier and how not to use it. For example, they do want you to use this in the upright position and not tipped over. The water could leak out and cause an electrical fire. This is meant to stand upright. It has rubber feet on the bottom. It's also compact enough that if you do have it on a boat or in an RV, this should not tip. That's neither here nor there. What else you get in the box is the Eva-Dry warranty card. You can select up to a 5-year warranty or a 1-year warranty, depending on what you want. All you have to do is mail this card in. You get some FCC compliance information here. Something else I want to point out is the dehumidifier actually comes pre-assembled with the reservoir already assembled, but I did disconnect it to show you the size of it. It does collect about 30 ounces of water. According to the specifications, this should dehumidify 8 ounces of water from within the air per day. And most importantly is the power connector, which does consume 22.5 watts. It is a proprietary connector right into the dehumidifier. I think one piece of information that was missing from the box from the introduction of the video was power consumption. something like this is going to consume quite a bit of power. This is not energy efficient. It is not cost effective in that respect. Where it is cost effective is saving your precious valuable items from corroding or being damaged because of humidity in the air. So let's go ahead and get this connected and talk about some of the features and show you just how easy this is to get up and running. So like I said, this actually comes pre-assembled in the box. I removed the reservoir, which is good for holding 30 ounces of water. This collects about 8 ounces of water in a day. That is at a pre-rated 86°F humidity level. Let's go ahead and just demonstrate how easy this is to slide in and out. As you'll notice, it actually has a grab handle on the back. It just pops out of place. There's no button or anything to disconnect it or dislodge it. It just simply locks into place and slides out of place. A couple of misconceptions you might have about this dehumidifier is that the fan to suck in the humid air is at the top, when in fact it is at the back. The exhaust, the hot air that it puts back into the atmosphere, is actually at the top of the machine, which is the most efficient way of operating this machine. Hot air rises, cool air stays low to the ground. Cool air has water in it likely, hot air does not. Therefore, this is the most efficient design. And last but not least, before we plug this in, judge how loud it is, judge how efficiently it works. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the features you get, because you do get some features that I would actually like to see on my own main dehumidifier. First and foremost, you get a translucent plastic window at the bottom, which actually looks like it would be maybe an LED light, but it is clear that the water reservoir at the back is this plastic translucent window, giving you a good idea as to how much water is in the machine. Now, this will shut off automatically, but still nice to see. Maybe if you want to empty this intermittently, say if you're going to work, you can check the water level, pull the water reservoir out and empty it. And second to last, or last but not least, is the power button at the top, which is just a plastic clicky button. It turns on and off. There's no timer here. You cannot adjust any other type of setting here. You cannot make the exhaust warmer or cooler, and therefore increase or decrease the rate that you're pulling humidity out of the air. This will turn on and off and fill as quickly as it works. So what I appreciate is the extended power connector, which is roughly 3.5 to 4 feet. What would have been maybe just a little bit more streamlined is if the power connector went through the back or maybe on the opposite side, because as you can see, presenting the Eva-Dry with the power connector inserted doesn't look the part, but as you can see, it's a decent length and it connects in nicely. Let's go ahead and turn this on and see how well it works. Okay, so power button, water fill level. This is not an LED. The power button is the LED. Like I said previously, all you have to do is turn it on and it starts working. No ifs, ands, or buts. Most importantly, how quiet is the Eva-Dry EDV 1200, which does cover up to 1200 cubic feet. This does consume about 22.5 watts of power. Whether that be per hour or per week or per month, I am not sure, but let's call it per hour. I am not an electrician, so take that with a grain of salt. The good news here is it is quiet. It will make some form of noise, and most importantly, this will exhaust a hot heat to keep the humidity out of the air. It will make the air drier. And last but not least, what I could compare this to is actually the fan of a computer tower. Maybe if you've got a performance tower or some kind of desktop class computer, some type of workstation grade computer. the fan on the inside sounds very similar to the fan on the inside of this dehumidifier. So like I was saying earlier, at the back of the machine is the inlet. This is where it sucks in the humid air. The top of the machine is the exhaust, or it basically transfers the humid air, or it takes the water particles out of the air. It passes through a chamber and is then redistributed back into the space, removing water from the air. The good news here is, because I am testing this out for the first time, because I already own a dehumidifier, I've done a pretty good job of removing the humidity from the air. The air being exhausted from the dehumidifier is actually cool. Typically in a hot or humid environment, the exhaust is going to be hot also. Here it's cool, which is good to see, because that means there isn't much humidity in my room. Now, just a safety feature I want to demonstrate is if you actually pull the reservoir out of the machine while it's on, maybe by accident, will the machine turn off by itself? And as you can see, it does. What's also interesting to note is the front of the machine is blinking a blue light, letting us know that the reservoir is removed and that it will not operate. That's also good to see if maybe you don't insert the reservoir correctly. All you have to do is slide the reservoir back in. You can see that the blue LED indicator light turns to a solid color, and most importantly, the machine is back on and operating. You can hear it and you can feel the exhaust at the top. Now, earlier I was talking about the specifications, and I was also making a couple of assumptions based on what I glimpsed at in the user manual. This is 8.75 inches high with a diameter of 5.75 inches. So as you can see, my math is way off and my judgment is way off. It is a 30-ounce reservoir, which is correct. It does need to work in an environment above 59 degrees. It does consume 22.5 watts of power. The power supply is a 9-volt DC 2.5 amp connector. And last but most importantly, not least, it does collect 8 ounces of water per day at 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Like I said, the reservoir at the back is 30 ounces, so roughly 3.5 to 4 days. Maybe have this on if you're going away on a quick trip over the weekend with a loved one or a friend or a family member. Instead of having your air conditioning on, maybe run this for a couple of days. It's power efficient and will remove the humidity from the air at a cost-effective rate. 8 ounces per day isn't all that much, but it's enough to keep that sort of weird stench of mold and mildew out of the air, as opposed to either running the air conditioning nonstop or running a much larger, more expensive and costly dehumidifier. Anyways, guys, that has been an unboxing and first impressions of the Eva-Dry EDV 1200 compact dehumidifier, capable of covering up to 1,200 cubic feet. Today we did an unboxing and first impressions. You saw what came in the box. You get the dehumidifier and the 30 fluid ounce reservoir assembled together. You get a 3.5 to 4 foot 9-volt power cable. It is a proprietary cable. You did see it connects to the side of the machine, so you do have to operate this upright and maybe operate it on a kitchen counter or behind a nightstand where you can hide that cable. We saw the build quality. It is a cheap chintzy plastic, but it is worth it for the equipment on the inside of the housing, which is the fan and dehumidifier equipment. We also saw what the user guides look like. We saw how easy this is to assemble, how easy it is to operate. It's got a simple power button on the front with an LED indicator light. As you saw, it blinks if the reservoir isn't inserted correctly, and it turns off automatically, all because of the LED indicator light, which makes it easy to operate. So 8 fluid ounces of water per day. Like I said, this is great for maybe using on a weekend trip instead of having your air conditioning running. Like I said, it does have a 30 fluid ounce reservoir, so it's good for 2.5, maybe 3 days of removing humidity from the air. At 22.5 watts, it is heavy on power consumption, so this might be expensive to operate in the long run, but again, this is to protect valuable assets, not be cost effective, right? It's actually to keep you from having to spend more money to replace those electronics or valuable clothing items or shoes, what have you. Mold and mildew can destroy things. With that being said, because I picked this up at Costco, that does make it a big box good. For $29.99, I think this is a phenomenal buy. It's a great insurance policy. Because I picked this up at Costco, that does make it a big box good. I really hope you enjoyed this unboxing and first impressions. If you want to see more content like this, hit that like button, subscribe. Also hit the bell icon so you can get notified when I post to YouTube. Share this video with friends and family. Tell them we review things from big box retailers, brick and mortar stores, as well as online stores. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is John. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much again for tuning in.